What's up, everyone? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. And as usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so feel free to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. Coworker is bragging about filing a false bite report to attempt to have their ex's dog euthanized. Can I help prevent this? Location, Massachusetts. Sorry if this is a dumb question. I understand completely if the answer here is don't get involved. Still, I had a beloved cat get killed by a psycho when I was a kid, so I hate the idea of someone else going through a similar loss. I have a coworker who is a bit of a character, to put it nicely. Recently, they've been bragging about how they're going to get revenge on their ex by filing a false bite report. They claim that the dog will be euthanized as the ex supposedly hasn't paid for a dog license. Edit, the dog is licensed. Coworker is not a reliable narrator. Obviously, that's crap. But is there any way this anonymous report will result in the dog being put down? The coworker says they're willing to do it, quote, as often as it takes, and also plan on filing false dog at large reports. They think this is very clever and has bragged about it multiple times. This is despite them knowing that I'm a huge animal lover. Best part is the coworker broke up with their ex because the coworker was cheating and the ex wouldn't forgive it. The boss does know about it as the coworker bragged to him about it. The coworker is still on a probationary period, and I don't think he's going to keep them after it ends. I figure calling animal control could be a good first step, but wonder if I'd be mistaken for a friend of the ex's. I just don't want to sit back and do nothing if there's a chance an innocent dog is going to be killed due to this piece of work. I've never gotten involved in a situation like this before and am not overly comfortable doing so, but want to help if I can. Thanks. Edit. Thank you all for your good advice. I called the non-emergency police phone line and they took a report. They were very helpful and said that having such a report on file would, quote, raise the standard of proof required for such a bite report to be taken seriously. I also called animal control and they more or less told me the same thing, that they will absolutely take the police report into account and that they will demand more proof than usual from the coworker should they report a bite. X hasn't replied to my message yet, but it's still early. And hopefully calling the police and animal control will take care of it. Edit 2. X got back to me. Was not overly surprised that the coworker would do this, but was still pretty shaken. They're going to make sure not to let the dog out of sight, and will be getting a copy of the police report as well as vet records to show animal control if they come knocking. They are also considering a restraining order. Update. Glad to say I've got a happy update. The coworker was indeed terminated the day her probation period ended, July 1st. I wasn't working that day, but apparently she just stormed out wordlessly when told. The ex has filed for a temporary restraining order and is working on a permanent one. He's also installed home security cameras and carries a copy of the police report and a one-page vet record showing the dog is spayed and vaccinated. The dog has also been to obedience school and they wrote a letter saying she hasn't shown any human or dog aggression. Police and animal control are very good around here. They assured us both that euthanasia is an absolute last resort in any case, and that they'd require extra proof from this coworker should she report anything. Additionally, with the restraining order, the coworker can't be, quote, bitten by the dog without violating it. And the department says they don't allow totally anonymous reporting. You can keep your name secret from the dog's owner, but not the police or animal control. So the dog is safe, coworker let go, and X is forewarned and forearmed. Thank you all for your advice and support. My college roommates and her friends would eat all of my food, so they ate brains. I was in college full-time and working full-time, so I had a little time to meal prep. I would make enough meals for a few days and store them on my designated shelf in our shared dorm fridge. I'd come home from a very long day and just want to eat and relax, but I'd almost always have no food left. 9 times out of 10, I'd actually walk into them eating my meals. They'd even have the guts to say how good it tasted, and they're sad there wasn't more. I've asked over and over to stop eating my damn food. Nope, wouldn't listen. So I went home to my parents' house and made a lot of spaghetti. Good spaghetti, knowing they would most certainly eat the whole thing. Sure enough, I get home to my dorm after a long day and these 3, not even my roommates, girls, are standing in the kitchen eating my spaghetti, and the huge bowl is almost gone. The one girl says how much she loves it and wants to know how I made it. Straight-faced, I tell her that is a common meal we make on the farm. We go to the butcher and get head cheese. That's the meat in the spaghetti. She was confused, total city kids, and didn't know what head cheese was. I answer, well, it's pig brains. It's really good, isn't it? That's what most of my meals are made from. She throws my bowl of spaghetti down and runs to the bathroom, puking everywhere. The others took off out of the dorm running, too. That is how I ended them stealing my food with such sweet petty revenge. Nobody touched my food ever again, nor did they talk to me. Win-win. Also, the meat was not head cheese/brains. It was pork sausage and very lean beef mixed together to resemble cooked pig brains. Edit. Alright already, geesh. Head cheese is not brains, is everything but. In my family, we just use that term as all-encompassing. Every family has things like that, that's one of ours. Lighten up. I truly wish this wasn't true. I would have been a lot happier and ate better. These girls were the true definition of 0 F's given. No morals. Asshats. When I say puke everywhere, I mean everywhere in the bathroom and on the carpet just outside. She was already puking by the time she got to the bathroom and puke painted the bathroom trying to get to the toilet. And yeah, apparently head cheese is actually a meat jelly, and it's made from the meat of heads of animals, so not exactly brains. I've never heard of it myself either, so I wanted to point out what it actually was. So no, apparently real head cheese doesn't actually have brains in it. OP's family just calls brains head cheese. Snorkeling trip in the Maldives went sideways, putting myself and my wife in danger. A gentleman with us died. Myself and the wife are in the Maldives. We are staying at one of the resorts which offers snorkeling and diving, and decided to go on the snorkeling trip this morning. There were 3 couples along with 3 crew members, one of which was the marine biologist running the trip. We head out to the first site, however it's too choppy and we go to another site and end up close to the seawall. It's quite a bumpy ride, which means the waves were already pretty noticeable. However, we trusted the crew knew what they were doing and we followed the guide into the water, who has been in and tested first. 3 of us have life jackets, which are optional, including myself and my wife. We get in the water and move around the boat, which then moves about 30 meters away. At this point, it's obvious the water is far too violent to even swim in, let alone go snorkeling. Waves are crashing over us. The current is too strong to swim in, and it feels like we are being pushed towards the seawall. One of the people without a life jacket shouts for one and then asks to get in the boat, realizing it's not safe. I grab onto my wife, who is helping another girl with the life jacket, who is terrified, and they are trying just to stay above the waves. The other couple who don't have life jackets are being thrown around and get separated, with the wife being pushed away and her husband shouting for someone to help her. He swims off and the marine biologist goes with him to find the wife. My wife manages to get on the boat, but I am helping the panicked girl and am being pushed further away, and just trying to stay above the waves, which are soaring and crashing over us. The crew on the boat, who showed absolutely no urgency, first asked us to swim over, which was impossible. Finally, after my wife had screamed at them, they reversed the boat closer, which then nearly hits me and the girl. I think we came close to the propeller, but I pushed us away from the boat, and try and throw a rubber ring, which gets sucked under the boat, and I think it then hits the propeller, as the engine makes a noise and then cuts out. We are then pushed away from the boat and go back to try staying above the waves. After about 10 minutes, another boat arrives, and again they ask us to swim over, which we again cannot do. I'm trying my best just to keep us from crashing into the seawall. Both crews are just standing around until my wife screams from the broken boat that they need to come get us. They then come over and throw a rope into the sea, as they don't have a rubber ring, which me and the girl grab onto. They then start the engine rather than haul us in, which pulls the rope out of her hands and nearly mine. She holds onto me and we are finally pulled into a calmer area and get on board. My wife tells the crew that there are still 2 passengers in the water, and again, the crew do nothing. We go back to the island and they are clearly performing CPR on the gentleman with his wife in shock standing next to him. My wife at this point starts to freak out and the crew asks her to calm down, assuring her he's fine, which he clearly isn't. He is then taken to the hospital, but it now turns out he has died. We spoke to the manager when we got back, who said he needed to take statements later in the evening. After 7 hours, we go back and he tells us that this has been passed to the police, who have been on site and taken statements from the crew, however, we haven't spoke to them. He then tells us there is nothing he can do as this is now a police matter. We've also spoken to the travel company who we booked through, and they're also going to investigate. We are essentially unharmed, but the holiday has clearly been ruined, and I really dread to think what would have happened if all of us went in without life jackets. Denied time off for my own wedding 8 months away. My vacation request was denied for my own wedding. I just need to vent on how effing bullcrap this is. I asked for 3 days off knowing I was being more than reasonable with this early as F notice. I was hoping our short staffing issues would be resolved in the next 8 months, and I could take a leave from my full-time line that is riddled with picking up extra shifts. Nope, management isn't confident that there will be a single RN available to cover these days. I can't leave work for one of the most important events of my life because of the state of our healthcare system and nursing shortages. Update: I quit, and it feels so good. I applied for a job fueled with rage and all of your support that very same day. After the weekend and state holiday, the manager of that job called to hire me as soon as I can start. I put my 2 weeks notice in and called my fiancé. He is beyond happy for me and excited for all the perks this new position brings. My new manager is going to honor all of the summer weekends I traded to have off and also my wedding. My commute just decreased from 116 kilometers to 26 kilometers. I was chasing my passion, not what was convenient, and now I won't have to choose between showering or eating when I get home. This is honestly hilarious in a very infuriating way. Like seriously, what is the manager actually thinking when they denied the time off? That OP would just say, "Oh, you're right, sorry, guess we can't have anyone cover my shifts. Guess I just won't get married then. In that case, let me just go tell my fiancé the wedding's off." Like seriously. Anyway friends, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this, and drop a comment down below. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.